All right, welcome back to the Hunter Burton Memorial Open 10-year anniversary. I'm Hal Brady here with David Palmer. David, what kind of decks are we going to see today? Oh yeah, Tan and Tan. He's here.
So I took the first round of coverage off. We had some talented people step in here for us, but I took it off so that I could take a look around the room and see what we're looking at today. So we have 48 players that made it in today too. We have 21 unique decks.
So sick.
At day 2 of the Hunter Burton. The only decks with more than 3 copies here in day 2 are the ones we expected. Green Black Yogg, Amulet Titan, Tron, and Blue-White Control. Beyond that, there's 17 other decks with 1 to 3 members playing in day 2. My favorite ones that are hidden down there in the list are we have some Mono Black Control that we haven't seen on camera. And then you and I are both big Scapeshift fans, and I think we're going to catch that right here as we get into round 2 coverage.
Nice. Yeah, we haven't got to see any Scapeshift so far this weekend, and yeah, huge fan of Scapeshift over time.
And as expected, we are going to be coming in here to catch Christopher Kral and William Jordan. We're going to be watching one of our other Asmo food players. So there are 2 Asmo foods in day 2, playing its Bring to Life Scapeshift. This has been a Modern deck since I actually played Modern competitively and played all the time. This has been on the fringes for a while, but I guess he decided without violent outbursts, it was time to bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked pretty much every version of Scapeshift that I've ever played. I mean, we played it before Bring to Light was a thing, and then with Bring to Light was sweet. You get all the options. You can either Bring to Light into a Scapeshift to just win the game immediately, or if you need like a Wrath effect or a removal spell or like a one of, specific sideboard card after game 1. There's all kinds of things Bring to Light can get for you.
Always been a big fan of toolbox decks, right? Urza Saga has really brought that to the forefront. Karn has, but Bring to Light was kind of the original toolbox. He has kind of the expected things that you would think. He's got the Omnath, he's got the Valky that becomes Tibalt, or the other way around. 1 rings as expected. And then a bunch of, 5-color removal and things of that nature. Be interesting to see how the 2 decks line up. Christopher trying to stave off William Jordan so that he can combo off, and William trying to get a fast enough start to not get buried under card advantage.
Yeah, I feel like from what we saw the other Asmo food deck over the weekend, I think the Scapeshift deck is going to be favored game 1. The food deck really controls the board and takes out creatures. I mean, we saw the Asmo food deck taking out Archons and just locking it down, but the Scapeshift deck doesn't really care about playing to the battlefield.
Yeah, the Scapeshift, deck is happy to just have an empty battlefield and then cast its namesake card and end the game. William needs to build up a bunch of different permanents to do the tricks that he's going to do. I am not talented enough to say Asmo's full name. I will not be trying it, not once this entire round. But we do see an Asmo getting in here, and it looks like Christopher Kral has fallen to 16 to William Jordan's self-inflicted 15.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to sound it out, David. It's not that hard. Just read it off the prompt here and just sound it out. It's fine.
Asmorano Mardikayastik Cool Dakar. Something like that.
Asmorano Dakar.
Yeah,
it's
Dakar.
Easy. Yeah.
The Asmo deck I was looking when we saw it the last time, for me, as someone that has not played nearly as much Modern in recent years and has been catching up, there was a bunch of cards in this deck that I had to read for the first time and learn what they did. Inti being one of them, Stalactite Stalker, Oval Chase Daredevil. I didn't know what any of these cards were coming into this match. So for me, it's fun to see a deck that's really entirely off my radar. The majority of the decks that we have in day 2 are the standards that you see in Modern. Maybe you didn't expect to see 2 Merfolk decks make it to day 2, but at least you know what the deck is.
Yeah, 100%. But I think this is the start that William needed to have a chance to win game 1. I mean, having an early Asmo for the 3 damage a turn. I don't think overall, though, the food deck's not a quick deck to deal a bunch of damage.
It's not Hammer. It's not going to close the door on you that quickly. We did see William Jordan cycling Cling to Dust. I love that card in black decks as a main deck way to answer pesky graveyard cards and a way to just draw cards. It's never dead, which I think is important if you're going to play kind of a narrow answer in your main deck. You want it to be something you can cycle for a better option in the matches where it's not needed.
Yeah, for sure. And if William could find like Tarmogoyf, we need to add as much power to the board as possible. 'Cause otherwise, Christopher's just going to do his thing for a few turns and probably just bring to light, Scapeshift, get some Valakas and some mountains, and call it a day.
Yeah, definitely need to put pressure on Christopher so that you're forcing him to react and not just build up to one fateful turn.
Oh, well, here's a card that we didn't get to play in our version of like Scapeshift. The One
Ring. That's a fantastic card to both go get and just to draw right off the top of your library.
Yeah, especially on like turn 3, turn 4 in a ramp deck. It's like you're trying to set up, you're trying to find your combo, and this just says, hey, let's slow things down. I'm still working things out here. I'd like to not take any damage and continue to find the cards that I need to set up to kill you in one turn.
Yeah. The other cards we didn't get to play in our version include Teferi, which was not printed at that point, and Leyline Binding, which was also not printed at that point. Leyline Binding, one of my favorite removal spells in the format.
It's really sweet.
Why does it have flash?
I don't know. No, I still play Arena quite a bit, and I actually played a decent amount of Standard last season. And there's a 5-color domain deck in Standard. There's a lot of fun. You got Herd Migration, Leyline Binding. It's a really sweet deck. Atraxa, because why not?
Why wouldn't you? If you can pay Atraxa's cost, you should play Atraxa.
Yeah. So William doing everything he can to get set up here, making some Golem tokens.
So we have 2 cookbooks. We have the Asmo. Saga went and got that second cookbook. That's the main target that the Asmo deck has to go get. There are a couple other things. There's a copy of Relic and a copy of Shadow Spear. Both not really what you need in this matchup, but they are there.
And the Golem's a 5/5 right now.
Yeah, the Golem is very large. The Saga tokens get very big in this Asmo deck. You get a bunch of just incidental artifacts and your cookbooks and the food that you make. So all of a sudden you look up and there's 10 power on William Jordan's side.
Yeah, and he has the Daredevil as well. So before William's next turn, the Golem will be a 7/7 if Christopher doesn't do anything to react here. And I mean, that would be lethal. So like William is presenting lethal next turn.
Yep. I believe that the red card we're seeing is the Inti as well, which is going to help him filter through his deck more, give him more discards, put more power in play.
So this is where he wants to be. I mean,
he's done a good job of putting pressure in play and making Chris answer the questions.
Yeah, he's got to prevent himself from just dying next turn. Once you get into like turn 5, 6, 7, that's when Christopher can just bring to light to win the game on the spot.
So without Dryad in play, he can't just Scapeshift as quickly.
Yeah, you've got to do something.
The Dryad. Looks like we are going to Scapeshift. I would assume we're going to go find probably a Supreme Verdict here. It's the best way to stay alive.
Yeah, so bring to light for what do I need? Yeah, we need a
What's the answer right here?
Yeah, 100%. How do I not just lose the game immediately?
Because of the additions of things like One Ring and Teferi and Leyline Binding, the deck only plays a single Supreme Verdict. So that is the one Wrath that Christopher will be able to play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, after you get past turn 5, 6, you don't need to Wrath the board again.
Hopefully you don't need it again.
Yeah. So William is going to activate the cookbooks before the Asmo and well, more importantly, the Inti. It goes away from the Supreme Verdict. You exile a couple cards that you might be able to play during your next turn.
And like shot Christopher for 3 as well.
Yeah.
Tells me he likely doesn't have another way to put an Asmo into play right away. Otherwise, you would just let the food sit there and use it later. There's no point to throw away the advantage and throw away maybe more power on another Saga token if you're able to draw one of those. But that's how the Scapeshift deck draws it up. Don't die, play a Wrath, and then we'll kill you at some point.
Christopher's Planeswalker is up to 7.
It is, and you don't see a Renin 6 get ultimated a lot. But when you do, the game usually just ends.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't let your opponent just retrace a Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like we've already used our one Wrath, except you could just start turning lands into Supreme Verdicts if you really need to.
Renin 6 is an incredible Planeswalker. I think it is a testament to design that it has been okay as a 2-mana Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Nobody calls for its banning. and it has stayed a, maybe they don't call for as many anymore just because we're used to it in modern, but 2-mana planeswalker that is both playable and not overpowered.
Yeah, it's a solid card, very powerful, but it's okay for now, I guess.
It's okay. That's why they keep printing 2 power 1-drop accelerators so that Red and 6 can't kill them all.
Right, so William's going to start trying to build his board back up. Has another Asmo in play.
So he did have the second Asmo, or maybe he drew it, but still decided to get rid of the food while he had a good chance. Looks like we have another cookbook here as well.
Yep, all the books, all the recipes.
I got Oval Chase, Daredevil, couple lands. Have you played much of this food deck? I know it seems right up the alley of things you would want to play.
And there was a really sweet blue-black version last year that you play like a one-of-time sieve. So you get to a point where you're just like making 5 foods a turn and just take infinite turns from there. But this Jun version, it seems so good.
Yeah, so the Oval Chase will allow William here to make multiple foods a turn through his cookbooks.
Okay. It looks like Williams, he's also got a Shadow Spear in play. Probably not going to do a whole lot of work this game, but he needs to get it closed out. I mean, he's down to 7. It's not going to take too much more.
Well, he also has to worry about the ring just killing him pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
You can't go to too low of a life, or Asmo can just bowl you.
Yeah.
Asmo can't go to the face, right? Or is it only creatures? It is only creatures. Okay.
Yeah.
Apologize. Like I said, this is the deck I probably knew the least well as we came into the weekend. I was reading up on a bunch of the cards here. Very interesting. I also still can't say Asmo's full name. It won't make me do it again.
Christopher finds a Leyline Binding.
Leyline Binding is a big deal here. It is interesting that he is choosing to play a removal spell that he can't go get with Bring to Light.
I mean, you're still playing like 4 to 5 colors. It's still a premium removal spell.
Yeah, it's not like going to get a Prismatic Ending is going to do anything, which would be the other maybe 4 or 5 color removal spell you would play. Solitude is the other thought, but maybe there's just not enough white cards in the deck to make Solitude playable as a normal card instead of just as a Bring to Light target.
So Christopher finds a Dryad, plays a Valakut, and shoots down Williams' only other creature.
Yeah, having both Dryad and Valakut, and now a fetch land with the Dryad, that's a big deal. It's going to be very hard for William to put power into play from here.
So every land now with Dryad in play is just a Lightning Bolt. And it looks like we're going to see an ultimated Planeswalker as well.
So now not only does William have to worry about having his creatures survive through the myriad of Lightning Bolts from a Valakut, he has to worry about a retraced Supreme Verdict at any time.
Does Bring exile itself when you play it? So I was going to say otherwise he could just retrace that in the game next turn, but it might exile when you play it.
Exile the card that it plays. So it actually exiled the Supreme Verdict. So it didn't put the Supreme Verdict in the graveyard.
Well, it exiles it and then you just play it though, right? It doesn't exile it when you play it. Yeah.
Exile that card, then shuffle you and play the card. Yeah, so both of them, I guess, are in the graveyard. Neither of them exile, so he can just Bring to Light for the win.
The Bring to Light's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, setting up the retrace with the Bring to Light in the graveyard. Very good.
So William, William has to kill the Dryad or kill Christopher, one of the two this turn. He gets the Asmo back.
So he sacrificed the cookbook to return the Asmo to his hand. Has a second cookbook still in play, plays the Asmo. Last time we were able to get a look at William's hand, he had, I think, 3 more lands total.
Yeah, but this is the turn. It's all on William here. Otherwise, Christopher is gonna take game 1.
Yeah, the Asmo deck is not really set up with a ton of ways to interact here, but there are 4 Galvanic Blasts. Unfortunately, those are not powered up currently. Oh, they would be, right? There's a cookbook. Okay, so the Dryad's going to get killed by Asmo.
Yep. Still have plenty of foods on William's side.
Oh, just 5.
Yeah, just 5 more.
Seems like plenty.
But
It does mean the Galvanic Blasts are turned on if he drew them, which is another way to interact. But we still just have the retrace ability on Ren and 6 going. I assume we'll just bring to light for another one. Chris, is it 7? He has a One Ring that's going to deal him 2 this turn at the very least. He could choose to draw another 3 cards and then take 3 instead.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to. I don't know if this fetch is happening in response or at a later time. That may be what they were discussing.
Yeah, I don't think he did it in response.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
the
he would've-
Druid's already in the graveyard
Yeah.
and the fetch is on top of it. So I think he just missed the ability to do that. Or chose not to. It's possible as well.
Yeah, I mean, killing the Asmo, though, would have been just free.
Yeah. I appreciate that there's an actual token for the Red and 6 ultimate. Those are hard to come by sometimes. First, we're talking before this round that the token, some of the tokens now cost more than Tarmogoyf does. Just heartbreaking.
Oh, there's another Dryad.
Immediately
5th
plays
land. And then should be able to just... Well, but he can kill the Dryad before anything else happens.
Yeah, so the mistake of not killing the Asmo keeps Christopher from winning the game right here.
Just on the spot, yeah. So we're going to retrace Supreme Verdict. Oh, no, that's the Bring to Light.
Yeah, retrace Bring to Light.
And it's going to go ahead and Scapeshift. So
I think he just has enough mountains.
he just has,
he's
it doesn't have to have the Dryad to do it. Yeah. Because he's up to what, 7, 8 lands.
Yeah.
So, and William's only at 13. So if you play enough mountains, you can just end the game here.
So sacrificing 4, finding 4 mountains would be enough.
Yeah, keeps the 3 mountains in the Valakut that he already has in play.
That's the tricky part is, you can just, if you have enough lands, you can still just Scapeshift.
William is tapped out, so he won't be able to sack any of the
gain
foods.
life.
Yeah.
Yep, and William obviously making Christopher show him the additional mountains.
I mean, sometimes you just don't have it.
Yeah, second Valakut, 4 mountain triggers. It's an easy 24 damage, and we are on to game 2.
Yeah, post game, it's really how I thought it would go. The food is trying to control the board. Scapeshift deck doesn't care about the board, but
yeah, the game went about how we expected game 1 to go. The Asmo deck is great at controlling other creature decks, and just didn't interact in ways that matter and wasn't fast enough. For game 2 and game 3, however, the Asmo deck does have 3 Alpine Moons. Okay. So they do have a way to shut down the Valakut part of things. Also have access to pick your poison like everybody that's playing green does this weekend. And then Haywire Might, which because the Dryad is enchantment, gives you another way to remove that from the battlefield, gets rid of the Leyline bindings if they're holding you up as well. So I would not be surprised to see that.
Yeah, I think this is all going to come down to how fast of a start can William have, and does he see enough of his sideboard cards to disrupt what Christopher's trying to do?
Yep. On the Bring to Light side, there is access to Chalice of the Void. Chalice on 1 is just really, really good
brutal,
against William's deck.
Would actually turn off most of his sideboards.
Yep. There's also Curse Totems to shut off the activated ability on Asmo and any of the other creature options, and then the normal pick your poisons, endurances, force of vigors, all the green cards that you might expect someone to be playing in their sideboard.
Ready to deal with these sideboard cards.
He also has Veil of Summer, which, like I said, is I think the least number of Veil of Summers I have seen registered or in people's decks in 5 years.
Christopher does start with the Grazer.
Why does it have reach?
Why does it have reach? It's in the trees.
It's in the trees. Boreal Grazer, a big part of why the Scapeshift deck and the Titan deck can be so good against aggro decks, because an 0-3 just blocks so many 1 and 2 drops effectively, buys you plenty of time, ramps you. A very underrated card, I think.
Can we see what that 1-drop is from William? I know it's like a goblin or something, but I think it's from the new set.
So it's the Stalactite Stalker. It costs 1. It's a 1/1 with Menace, and at the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. You descended if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere.
Okay. Pretty easy to descend with
Fetch lands. You can discard to descend, right? You can discard a permanent card to any of the cookbooks and make it descend. And it also is a removal spell on a stick. For 3 mana, you can sacrifice it and target creature gets -X/-X, where X is its power.
Yeah, and it's already a 3/3 on Williams' side of the board, so that's probably one of the cards that he really wants to see in this matchup on turn 1.
Yeah, it's a very quick clock in this deck. It also gives him a way to get rid of an annoying Dryad later in the game if he needs to. But this is definitely the start that William is looking for. But on the other side, this is the perfect start for Christopher. A Boreal Grazer, right into Arena 6.
Yeah.
He'll be able to play One Ring next turn if he has one. I would assume this Boreal Grazer is going to become a speed block to protect this Renin 6 here.
Well, I mean, it's got menace though.
Oh, it does have menace.
Yeah.
It's getting in anyway.
Yep, and then the NT gives it a +1/+1 counter, and NT reveals an Alpine Moon.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Okay, yeah.
William Jordan does not have an untapped red mana. So I don't believe that he will be able to play the Alpine Moon immediately. Now Christopher knows what's coming.
Yeah.
But that's very quickly a 4-power menace. That's up with an NT.
And I'm not sure. I think he just went face with it. It doesn't look like he went for the Planeswalker.
He has decided that he's the beatdown. He all of a sudden has 9 power in play.
Yeah, I mean,
and Christopher is at 13. I said that I didn't think the Asmo deck was the sort of speedy beatdown deck that you needed to get under the Scapeshift deck. Looks like I was wrong.
They just curved out 1, 2, and 3.
Didn't have the right draw. I am sorry, Asmo. I did not understand your game. Asmo is a 3/3 for 1 already, just way above rate.
You're talking about Watch Wolf.
Yeah, Watch Wolf.
One cost.
Inti, such a good job of spreading the power around so that you can have it on multiple creatures. And then obviously this the Stalactite Stalker is 4 power.
4 power. It's got menace. It can be a removal spell later.
We got 16 to 12. What's up?
William's gonna have an interesting decision next turn whether he uses all of his mana to make a construct or if he has better things to play.
Yeah, and going and get the cookbook next turn is going to be really good.
Christopher, with the 1 fetch that he's recurring with Renin 6, those little pings do add up.
See if he has,
A basic to go get.
and then see if he has the One Ring this turn.
One Ring is going to be the key card here. The One Ring just being basically a time walk, buying you a whole time. Tana and I yesterday were talking about favorite flashback cards of all time, Moments Piece. One Ring is just way better than Moments Piece at doing the job of buying you more time. And there it is, the One Ring. We've seen a lot of the One Ring on camera this weekend. It has found its way into a lot of different decks. If you can support it and you have ways to get rid of it so it doesn't kill you, it's a good card to be playing.
See what William decides to do with his Saga.
Looks like he decided to not tap mana and make a construct. Christopher is smartly going to tap the One Ring so that a Pithing Needle doesn't catch him with his pants down. For those of you that don't know, there is no time to respond to the Pithing Needle once it is in play. It has already happened.
Yeah, I was just thinking about if I just
so
take 1 every turn.
if you think they're gonna Pithing Needle your fetch land, fetch first. Don't get trapped.
And in fact, that is what William went and got.
Absolutely. Shutting down the One Ring here, making it only draw 1 card for Christopher. Shutting down additional One Rings later. I think it's definitely the best card for William to have gone and gotten here.
But then, comes into play, and then the Oval Chase Daredevil goes back to hand. And William also already had a cookbook, so he didn't need to go get that.
So discarding the Daredevil here will pump up the Stalker. The NT will be able to pump an additional point there. Only getting in with the Stalker, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, we still have the One Ring trigger, so we're not actually
he's
getting
just
infinite
getting in
damage.
for
Yeah,
so
we're just
that
getting extra cards.
the token happens. Good catch, good catch. And Christopher is just way on the back foot. We are on the all-important turn 5. Bring to light for Supreme Verdict could be waiting in the wings. But barring that, another One Ring would buy another turn, but it wouldn't draw you a card.
Yep.
Leyline Binding, you could get rid of one of the creatures, but you'd really want to get rid of the needle.
Yep.
Christopher's running through all of these options in his head too. Maybe wondering what his game 3 chances look like. Facing down an army of long-named creatures. It's one thing that keeps getting longer in Magic is the names of all legendary creatures and all the different things they're printing. They used most of the one-word names up 10 years ago, so.
Just for falling to 9 from a fetch land.
Getting the beautiful John Avon lands here. It looks like we do have a Bring to Light, which is why we didn't go through the shuffling. There's a little bit of shortcutting happening here. Doesn't matter what the order of the cards are in the deck before the Bring to Light gets cast. Christopher putting his graveyard in the orientation I do my exile is getting with my head. Makes me feel like all of these cards are exiled, but none of them are.
Yeah, looks like we're just going to go for the Supreme Verdict. William with a few triggers in response. Looks like he just finds a lane off the top with NT's trigger.
Supreme Verdict was the find again. I find it interesting that the Bring to Light deck did not have another Supreme Verdict in the sideboard to come get for these matchups, but you know, maybe they think that just wrathing once is enough to get them to the point of the game.
They're not trying to hang out much longer after that.
Yeah, they've got the one Wrath, they've got the one Valky. Those are the things that they go get if it's not Scapeshift time.
The Saga's a tier, right? Yes. City's Roots. Yeah. Where's the pot?
There's another card that was new to me when we were looking at this. This is Insidious Roots. It's a green and black enchantment that creature tokens you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color, and whenever one or more creatures leave your graveyard, make a plant, and then put a +1/+1 counter on each plant. So the recursion of the Oval Chase here is going to make plants and then pump them up, much in the Avenger of Zendikar way from days long gone.
Just another
way to take advantage
in the deck. That's pretty sweet.
Yep.
And William has another Asmo. It feels like they always have the second Asmo waiting. They couldn't play it anyway.
Yeah.
And now it's unlocked and we're ready to go. And all of a sudden, Chris is back on the back foot. He's losing 1 life a turn to his own One Ring.
Yep.
He's facing down at minimum 5 power again next turn.
Yeah, another cookbook means he's going to keep getting get activations and making more plant tokens and adding counters.
Just with the plant tokens in play, that existing plant will have 3 power next turn from 2 more discards at minimum. Plus, Chris is going to lose a life here down to 8. So we do have a Beseju. I assume that the Insidious Roots has got to be the target here.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get rid of the Pithing Needle on the One Ring, and that is what he's going for.
He goes for Pithing Needle. Obviously, he has a lot more experience with the deck than I do.
Maybe he has another.
He just
One
needs,
Ring, you know.
yeah. If he has another One Ring, needs to be able to.
So he gets to
buy
draw
a
2
turn,
cards and buy another
draw
turn.
2 cards.
So then we're getting into Scapeshift territory.
Just for looking at 2 more cards here. Doing some math. And the popularization of foils has made it really hard to read cards in people's hands. See a Stomping Ground. I know that one for sure. William Jordan has looked calm and in control through this whole match. Even when he was dying at the end of last game, he seems like someone who has played his deck a lot, knows all of the ins and outs of exactly what he wants to be doing. I'm just going to stop second guessing the things that he does and just watch someone play a deck very well.
So Christopher didn't just snap off a land in the ring. He may not have it. Going down to 6. This has got to be another.
It has to be a ring
Yeah,
if he's
okay.
taking.
He's just deciding which land to play. It looks like he didn't have any other choice but to take 2 damage.
He's still in just a very dangerous position. He will get 1 more turn. He has 6 lands in play. 7 lands is kind of the key point for escape shift draw. William is at 16. If William taps out and cannot gain life with his foods, he is in danger of dying just to escape shift with 7 lands in play. I assume William knows this and will probably not leave him dead to escape shift, especially when Christopher will have seen 4 additional cards or so over the last 2 turns. William is deciding to make a Karnstruct token this time around. That token is 6/6 currently.
Yep.
And just going to get bigger. Urza Saga really at home in a deck that makes just a ton of artifacts incidentally as a part of its other game plan. Saga, another deck that you see in lots of decks. Another needle found. So William Jordan with 2 needles for the One Ring. Christopher did not tap the One Ring this time, not expecting a second needle.
Also at 6, I
Yep.
mean, you don't want to keep taking damage.
William has smartly left 2 mana untapped so as not to tap himself out of food and going to exactly 1 life too many to die. Oh. Okay.
Plays an Inti.
Plays an Inti, leaves himself without access to gaining life. If there's a Bring to Light in Christopher's hand, he should be able to win the
That'll
game
just
right
be
here.
game, yeah. Taking his time.
Scapeshift isn't
maybe
as
not
popular as it once was. Well, you may not know that just 7 lands is enough to
Yeah.
get you out of nowhere. Christopher did not slam it.
Yeah. So it looks like he's trying to figure out how to maybe just not die.
He may not have had a 7th land. He did have to play an untapped land and
Yeah.
lose 2 life last turn.
This is mean for me. You have like infinite mana, so I don't think I'm fighting over Asmo.
You're definitely dead. If we pass back, I think the game is over.
And Christopher's got such a grip too.
I'm gonna ending the needle on the ring.
All right, so Leyline Binding
I was having to ending the needle.
so that he can try and draw either land or Scapeshift.
Yep.
Or not Scapeshift. Well, Scapeshift or Bring to Light
Yeah.
would both do it in this case. He does have a 2nd green mana hiding there on the right. Not the face of a man who drew it. So Ride's gonna happen.
Oh my goodness.
Cast the one.
2 lands.
Scapeshift?
Scapeshift.
Oh, another ring.
One
All
ring.
right.
Immediately, the
Yeah.
Dryad goes away. The One Ring has bought an additional turn.
MTG trigger. Pass it over to you. Remember the reach thing?
Man, what a turn from Christopher. Just hanging in there, holding on. It may buy him the time that he needs to finish the game off. So Inti does find a Haywire Might.
Haywire Might, not going to be able to be cast because it is happening at the end of Christopher's turn.
Yeah, but
believe
it's
they
still
have to
your
cast
next
it.
turn.
Is
So
it
he'll be
still
able
your
to,
next turn?
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so William will be able to cast it on
Oh, yeah.
his turn.
So the Haywire Might will be another answer to the ring. Christopher will get a draw out of it. These plants are getting out of hand
Yeah.
as expected.
This one's tight.
The Insidious Roots is a really, really great addition to this deck. This feels like a really well-tuned machine. It also seems like a hard deck to play. There are a lot of moving parts and significant number of triggers. Really easy to miss things. William has access to both the Haywire Might and... Is that a Street Wraith, the other card? Yeah.
Looks like it, yeah.
Chooses not to play the Street Wraith. I think that's probably the right choice. Christopher does draw a card with the ring. Haywire Might exiles the ring. And now Christopher is still looking for one of the 3 Bring to Lights, the 1 Scapeshift, or just another ring.
Yeah, I mean, he's on 8 lands. He doesn't need the Dryad anymore to complete the combo.
I see a Teferi in hand, a Triome, and then 1 unknown card. Who doesn't have it yet? Just Windmill Slam, whatever it is off the top for us, Christopher. All right, so gonna sacrifice, fetch land, goes to 5. Probably has a surveil land in his deck to go get, if I had to guess. And that is what's happening.
Man, so good here. Get to dig an extra card.
2
deeper.
shots. You can crack the other land to do it again. If the surveil isn't good, you put it to bottom. You can then go look again and give yourself an additional dig.
What does that mean?
I think William knows. William knows that it's just one card.
Considering leaving it on top is terrifying for William.
If it's only a consideration, not a snap, you're dead, then it's like the ring again
Yeah.
by another turn.
And draw another card.
Yeah.
Possibly 2. It's probably worth it.
Keep that on top. Still in my upkeep. I'm gonna fetch. Go to 4.
With the fetch on the stack,
All right, choosing.
Yeah.
doing the thing,
Yeah.
triggering booster.
Yeah.
For the plant, sir. Do it again.
All right, so double cookbook activation, Oval Chase Daredevil, recursion,
Okay. Should
and William, I think, is
or
looking for a way to respond.
Booster right here.
okay. These ones didn't come into play on your last turn.
You got a cling that he can play right now.
Play under your last turn.
They did not, because I just tapped the cookbooks.
Okay. Yes, you're right. So it was just it was these 3 that you had. Yeah.
A lot of power on plants right now.
Okay. Is my fetch resolve?
No.
I think we could probably just say they're enough.
No.
Oh,
Wow.
It was.
So William has the galvanic
William had the
blast.
galvanic
The
blast.
teal 4. Christopher dies to his fetch
Be on the
land.
play. You're right. That issue.
Yeah, gotta not go to 4 next time.
Yep.
It's a good one to know about.
I was hoping I.
Didn't matter. He goes surveilled the bottom, left that one uncracked. There was another land after it on top. He was not getting out of that anyway.
Yeah.
But important for him to know about the galvanic blast. He definitely did not expect the second pithing needle
No.
to come into play, or he would have drawn a card there. A little unlucky to not draw, Scapeshift or Bring to Light at some point, but just a clinic kind of put on by the Asmo deck bed, how quickly it can put another deck on the back foot and the amount of power it can have him play by turn 3 or turn 4.
So we saw 1 Bring to Light because we supreme.
Yeah, saw the one.
We got
Never saw
the
the
second one or the Scapeshift.
Yep. Just kept drawing rings.
Yeah.
And William was always ready with the answer. Christopher will be on the play here. Hard to read all of these shiny cards. I do see a couple lands. I think there was a Bring to Light there. There is definitely a Valakut and at least 2 other lands in Christopher's hand. And it looks like William is taking a mulligan here. I feel like the Asmo deck probably mulligans really well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of low cost cards. Oh, I don't know if there's a land in that. There's
One on the left, and it's Beseju, I think.
Okay.
Oh, he's got 2. He's got Swamp 2. Yeah, that's not exactly what you're looking for. It's got a Street Wraith to draw another card. It's he's in an okay place. And that's like Insidious Roots. If he finds a cookbook, you can start going off with that very quickly. I'm gonna quickly take 3 damage. Not really worried about his life total. If you're dead, you're probably dead.
Turn 1 cookbook. If you have the Daredevil and turn 2 Insidious Roots, it's a pretty fast.
It goes very, very fast. Christopher being on the play, but no Grazer, at least decided not to play one on turn 1, decided to play a tap land instead. Grazer did not look like a great speed bump in that last match because the 1-drop had menace, everything else was enormous. I don't think it ever got a block in before the Supreme Verdict cleared everything up. Asmo, after discarding the Street Wraith.
It's a solid start.
Quick cookbook. Now we've got Roots and cookbook. Christopher with a surveil. I really like the addition of the surveil lands. They definitely help the more mid-range control-y side of the metagame, less so the aggressive side of the metagame because you can't afford to be playing those. But quick prismatic ending takes care of the Asmo. Important part of it. He may wish he had that back for the Insidious Roots.
Yeah.
In just a moment, though. First time that we have seen Seed of Hope out of William Jordan in this game. So this was a new one to me. You mill two cards and then put a permanent from among the milled cards into your hand, and you gain 2 life. So as you look at the top 2, take a permanent, put the other one in your graveyard.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, coverage staff. What would we do without you? Definitely an interesting addition. This deck is basically all permanents.
Yeah.
So it's just, mill 2 and take whatever of the cards you want that pops up.
And gain 2 life.
Yeah, gain 2 life. An important part. The gain 2 life there, the Galvanic Blasts, bunch of blockers. This deck likely has a very good matchup against aggressive decks. We've not seen a ton of aggressive decks outside of the one Hammer player over the course of the weekend. Texas is usually known as a bastion of burn, and there's not actually a ton of it this weekend.
So I'm getting started with the cookbook interactions.
Let's not have Daredevil because he's having to think about what he's going to discard. Discards the Insidious Roots. Two food sitting in play. We're going to fetch up another land here. Unlikely to be a surveil land out of the cookbook deck. This is exactly what Christopher wants, though.
Yeah.
Currently, there's no pressure. He's just been allowed to play 3 tap lands in a row.
Just hanging out.
And just hanging out. This is the style of game. If Christopher could draw up how the first 2 or 3 turns were going to go, I think he would choose this basically every time. Maybe with a Grazer thrown in.
Yeah, it'd be nice to not have to bring to light for a supreme verdict for once.
Christopher did surveil that Omnath, the graveyard, which he would have had 4 lands next turn. Tells me he's maybe looking for a 4th land or didn't have the colors lined up perfectly for that Omnath. Omnath, quite a card. I remember the first time I read Omnath, I was a little overwhelmed. I feel that way about a lot of cards these days. There's a lot of text on a lot of cards these days. Quick wondering, Christopher, not going to waste any time. Just going to go ahead and draw the card.
I'm at 20. Let's go.
Not going to get stopped by Pithing Needle trickery this time around.
4.5 minutes. I don't.
Yeah, so did find the untapped land. He still has the Valakut, which would have been a tapped land for this turn, but found the untapped land for the One Ring. The Time Walk portion, not really important. Saved him 3 damage this turn, but he's going to untap with the One Ring active, and William Jordan's hand has just not developed. He had to take a mulligan. He kept a hand that had some pieces and a Street Wraith. I think it was definitely a keep, but his first Asmo got taken care of and just has not built up as quickly since. He is in a situation to start building plants here. He obviously had the second Insidious Roots. He has an active cookbook. Has not found the Daredevil to make sure he doesn't have to actually discard cards to do it yet, but he will be able to generate a decent amount of power slowly.
This one has to.
Christopher, though, has found double Valakut to go with the draw.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So in response to the triggers going on the stack, William is going to shoot the Dryad. In response to that, Leyline Binding is going to take care of the second Asmo.
You take that. Go.
And William's hand is just like, it was, I think he's got 2 cards left. It's another cookbook and a Galvanic Blast.
Yep.
And that's it. He's kind of out of gas.
Facing down a ring and double Valakut. They're not active anymore. Not without another Dryad, but one ring that's going to draw 3 cards next turn when you don't have a clock and your opponent's at 19. Tough spot to be.
Yeah, and Williams at 14, so Christopher gets to 7 lands and has the Scapeshift.
Yeah, it's just over.
No, you're fine.
I believe that there's only 1 mountain in play currently. There might be a second. So he's not close to activating the Valakuts the easy way.
Yeah.
He'll need to find it the hard way for sure. So William does make a plant at end of turn. Give himself a little bit of a clock here. A second Insidious Roots. Cycles a Street Wraith. Finds an Urza's Saga. A second Roots does like 2 power for each of them as you discard adds up. Insidious Roots it isn't legendary enchantment, right? No, okay, just normal enchantment.
And he does decide to play it. I mean, Christopher's at 19. He's going to take 2 from the ring, but then he's going to draw like 3 extra cards next turn.
Yep. Christopher's going to see 3 cards next turn at minimum.
What's up? Trigger, take 2. 17.
So we have a cookbook. We have 1 card in hand, it looks like, for William Jordan, probably the Galvanic Blast. And 2 Insidious Roots. So he's going to be able to make 2 tokens and put 2 counters. It's not nothing of a clock, but it's not going to kill Christopher Crawl next turn. Christopher's got a couple turns at very minimum to sculpt a hand and a way to answer what's currently happening.
Let's see what Chris found off of all those cards, and that is a Bring to Light.
Bring to Light, only 6 total lands, so we won't see Scapeshift
I wonder if
here.
this is going to be the Valky this time?
Valky makes sense. A replacement One Ring, maybe. But I think Valky, if he left Valky in post board, Valky may have been one of the cuts.
Gets an Omnath.
Omnath's a decent one as well.
I've cast it. I would ETB drop. Yes.
Omnath's fine.
Omnath is a great way to offset the One Ring.
Yeah.
If you're able to, keep drawing fetch lands through your One Ring draws, it does help you.
There's a land, gains 4 life.
Lost 3, gained 4.
This might end up being too much for William. By the time he'd be able to find a Pithing Needle off of this saga, the ring's already going to have drawn him like 10 extra cards.
Yeah, he's at 6 extra cards already. You definitely get a needle because he's going to replace this ring with another ring at some point.
Man, the ring just does so much work in this Bring to Light deck.
Okay, Alpine Moon. Who's going to make Christopher beat him with something other than Valakut, at least. I like Alpine Moon as a sideboard card, especially when you don't want to play Blood Moon. If Blood Moon's too damaging for you.
I said not top twice, but you know what I mean. Activate the ring, draw 4.
I've seen a lot of Alpine Moons in my time, and I remember when it first printed, I was like, this is great, the art's great, everything about this card, kind of exactly what I wanted.
Gain 4. Yes.
Trigger the Omnath.
Cast
Just for now, sitting on just so much mana. He's gonna Prismatic Ending. get
Mine's
rid
an
of the
answer for that Alpine Moon.
Cast Dryad of the Illustrated.
Looks like a
Jeez.
Dryad in hand.
Oh, man. Yeah, Christopher's just kind of got it all this game.
Well, when you draw 10 extra cards, Hal, it's pretty easy to have it all.
Find the things.
Yeah,
Only 4 untapped lands,
right here. Just hide.
unless he has the actual Scapeshift in hand.
So I have 3 triggers.
All right, so double triggers.
Yeah.
I will resolve
Omnath trigger.
Take some mana with Omnath.
2 targets.
It's the
with
second
Valakut.
land. 2 Valakut triggers.
Just both going to William Jordan. 1 more land here off of maybe another Dryad would be enough to end the game right here.
Pay 1.
Christopher with still had all these
Yeah.
going on.
There's a Bring to Light.
Yep.
I will sacrifice.
William gonna make him do it again.
Yeah.
No concessions here.
The Dryad's in play. Or is that just a Scapeshift? That's a Bring to Light, right? I don't know.
I believe it's a Bring to Light. I see a green and a blue mana symbol.
Sorry, I have to grab the Scapeshift.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting a Scapeshift.
Yeah. Show me you left it in.
Yeah.
Christopher's double sleeved deck is really tall. It's hard to pick up the whole thing at once.
Just gonna
Now we're gonna
sacrifice
Scapeshift.
just 2 lands.
That's all we need.
Get 2 mountains.
So it would be 4 Valakut triggers.
Deal 12 damage.
You, and then Omnath trigger.
Yeah, got 2 mountains, which takes him to 5 mountains, even if the Dryad dies.
Omnath also dealing some damage.
Yes.
And that'll do it. The Asmo deck was incredibly impressive in game 2.
Yeah.
I had not seen that version of it do that sort of aggressive thing. It was really, really awesome to watch. But the Bring to Light deck in game 3, the Asmo deck just kind of didn't do anything for 3 turns and fell too far.
It seems just like such a terrible matchup for the Asmo food deck. And the Scapeshift decks, I mean, it's not a popular deck, but I mean, we saw what the day 2, decks are. They're all over the place.
Yeah, it's been fun. Day 2 decks, 21 different decks out of 48 players. A bunch of off the wall things. I'm David Palmer. This is Hal Brady. We're here at the Hunter Burton Memorial Open. We are here specifically. This event is gaming to prevent suicide. Everything we do, all the charity work is around that theme. And we are happy that you are here with us today. We're going to take a quick break. And after that, we will be back with round 11. See you soon.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hunter Burton Memorial Open. And as you know, through the broadcast this weekend, we've been focusing mostly on Magic the Gathering, but we've got a lot of other games going on here. I'm joined by Brody Spurlock, the wonder kid of Flesh and Blood. You've been all over the world playing, so I don't think it's any real surprise that you're here this weekend. How's Flesh and Blood going for you at this tournament?
It's good. I played in the PTI event today, finished 5-2, so I didn't make the top 8, but had a really good time. I, in general, just got to see a bunch of friends today. Lots of familiar faces, met a couple new ones, so yeah, having a really good time.
Yeah. Now, you've got a big tournament going on next week. You've got Pro Tour LA right after this. How are you feeling about that going into that event?
I feel like I'm more prepared for this Pro Tour than I have been for any in the past. Still a couple things I want to work out in the next week. We're going to get to LA a couple days early, get some drafts in, just finalize everything, make sure feel good about CC. But I think in both formats, I am probably more prepared than I've ever been, so feeling very good about the Pro Tour. Really excited.
Well, hopefully you're getting some pretty good practice in here today. Now, have you had a chance to walk around what's going on here? Because there's not just your event going on. There's Magic, there's Lorcana, there's a bunch of other stuff going on. We've got like silent auctions on some of the materials here that are really, really cool. Have you had a chance to enjoy the whole thing that's going on here? And will we see you back next year, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I've been mostly hanging around the fab tables, but I did get to go around the hall once or twice, and I actually got to see several old friends who are playing Magic, because I used to play Magic, and I know a couple people who were playing fab, and now they're playing more Magic or whatever, so it was cool to get to see some people who haven't been around in the fab scene as much, and just catch up with old friends. And I mean, yeah, I'd love to come back next year. For a couple years, have had friends telling me about the HBMO, and last year I was going to maybe come, but then it didn't line up because it was something else. So I'm happy to be here, and I'd love to come back.
Well, Brody, we'd love to have you back. Thanks for giving us time.
Yeah, thank you.